Welcome back to WildlightTV. It's been a bit of a gap since the last episode. We promised to upload another one talking about comparison between the Nikon Telephoto zooms, and it's been a little bit longer than we hoped it would be, but we'll get right into it. The reasons for the delay is that two of the lenses have been off on an expedition down to the subantarctic islands, so we didn't physically have them here to show you. And that trip has also highlighted a couple of issues that are worth looking at. So we'll be into it straight after this.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Right, welcome back. Last time, you remember, we were down at the Rotary lakefront testing the three Nikon telezoom lenses and comparing them. The first one that I've been using for about 10 years is the 200 to 400 f4, which is a lovely sharp lens. The only drawback with it is that it's big and heavy. Comes in about 3.36 kg, so it's quite a lump to use for panning with birds. It's quite hand-holdable and usable, but it is quite heavy, so it's hard to track smaller, more erratically flying birds. But it's a lovely sharp, fast lens. The other lens that I've been using a lot recently is the 80 to 400, and this is a lot lighter at 1.5 kg, it's just over 1.5, so it's less than half the weight of the 200 to 400. The drawback with it is it's not quite as sharp, and we also lose a stop of light. At the long end it's f5.6, at the 80mm end it's 4.5. So I normally just work in manual mode at 5.6, so we're giving away a stop of light compared to the 200 to 400, but a much lighter lens. It's very nimble to follow birds with, and it's quite successful in catching little welcome swallows. Image quality, not quite as good. It's not quite as sharp at the long end, but it'll still make very usable images that are quite saleable. The new lens that we're trying was the 200 to 500, which is quite an interesting new lens because it's about half the price of this one. It's about a fifth of the price of that one, and while it's quite a bit heavier than this, 2.3 kgs, it's about a kilogram less than that one. It's still quite a lump to hold, and when it's extended it's quite a long thing to move. It's still easier to hand hold than that one. The thing that really impressed me with this was the image quality. It's incredibly sharp, and it really doesn't seem to give away anything to the 200 to 400 other than that stop of light. It's f5.6 constant aperture, so you're losing a stop of light, but you're getting a much lighter lens to work with. The other drawback compared to this is that it doesn't have the nanocrystal coating, and also it's not weather sealed. That was something that was highlighted in its trip down to the subantarctic. So if you look closely, you can probably see there's water in the lens. In all fairness, it was a pretty huge wave that took out this lens, and with it a D500, a D700 and an 18 to 35 zoom lens all in one hit. So I suspect something like that would have fared a wee bit better than this did. But what you saving in money, you could buy 5 of these for one of those, so it might be worth risking it with the lack of weather sealing. As I said, the sharpness of this lens really impressed me, and looking at the images we've got here, a couple of little goslings, there's really fine detail showing up on the feathers there. Very impressive. Similarly with the scorp, beautiful sharp detail, nice out of focus areas, so very pleasing image quality from the 200 to 500, and for tracking birds in flight it worked very nicely. So it really is a very impressive lens. I mean, the thing that really stands out is the image quality compared with the price. You give away a couple of things. The maximum aperture is a stop smaller, you don't have the weather sealing, but I think it's a pretty fair trade for the cost you're paying for it. It's an extremely good value lens. So we've got the 3 Nikon telezooms. It's really horses for courses, but if you need a fast lens for low light work, you've got to put up with the weight of the 200 to 400. Fabulous image quality. If you want a light versatile lens, it goes from 80 to 400. Not quite as sharp, but still very, very good image quality. Nimble and great for following birds. 80 to 400's a good buy. It is quite expensive. Half the price you're getting the 200 to 500, which gives you fabulous image quality and good range in terms of reach. So for a budget entry to bird photography, this is a really very good lens to consider. So for those of you that would like to see a little bit more of the test from the 200 to 500, I've done a blog post on that and I've got a few images there. So if you pop along to Wildlight Photography, look on the blog or search the blog for Nikon 200 to 500, you'll find the blog post with the images there to look at. Right, I hope that's been helpful for you. It's been a very interesting exercise for us to test these lenses. Unfortunately this one's toast, it's going to have to go back and have some serious work done on it. But it has highlighted an issue with it, but I don't think it's unreasonable when you look at the price you're paying for it. It's extremely good value lens for the money you pay. So look forward to seeing you next time, and if you want to keep up with us, subscribe to our channel.